Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Beth, and I just finished reading Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami. This book was published in 2002 and is about 475 pages long. So, what can I say about this book other than it's a Haruki Murakami novel? You have to expect magical realism from this book, and you have to expect the characters are quite strange, and the it's really quite invigorating reading his books because you really never know exactly where it's going to lead to. It's true that in this book there is a prophecy for our main character, Kafka. That's actually not his real name, but he kind of sheds his real name when he runs away from home. That's kind of the start of the novel, as a 15-year-old boy running away from home to escape his father. It's not exactly said that he's had a abusive home life, but I think that there's just something wrong with his environment. His mother left when he was very young with his adopted older sister, so he's kind of always having that missing sensation inside of himself, and he's had to kind of create a rough exterior, never really making friends, always keeping to himself, preparing himself for the day when he can run away, because he's even strengthening himself through exercise and just really creating this idea that he has to leave because where he's living will eventually break him. And I think that a big part of this novel stresses the importance of your imagination being as real as something that you've actually experienced. So if you've imagined it hard enough, that's actually what's occurring in real life. You see this in the fact that I don't want to give away any spoilers, and I also should say, trigger warning, there is an Oedipus complex in this, and it does get rather raunchy, and there's also just certain points of the novel that might make people feel uncomfortable because of its explicit nature. I do think that it doesn't pull away from the novel. I think it actually kind of leans toward this more off-kilter world that Murakami has created. I think that it's important that it's in there. I think that it kind of advances the characters forward, because the way that Murakami writes characters is there's not ever there are slight arcs in characters, but I feel that it's more of the story kind of washing over them to have these minute changes to understand and fully realize themselves, as opposed to facing a hardship and overcoming it in a way. It's kind of almost meandering through and reacting as a real human would to strange circumstances, to say the least. There's also another character in this novel that you follow called Nakata. Please forgive me, I'm not pronouncing these names right, probably. He is a 6-year-old man that during World War II was in this strange incident in which all school children on a day hike collapsed after a B-29 flew through the air. And ever since that, he's been empty and has missed half of his shadow, so he's not really a full man. And I think that's quite a strange concept because he's become essentially dumb. He cannot read, he cannot write, he cannot remember his life from that point, and he becomes an empty vessel to kind of do the bidding of this other world. I think that Kafka on the Shore is the precursor to IQ-84. Kafka on the Shore came out in 2002, and IQ-84 came out in 2009. And I think that Murakami drew upon this world to fully realize in IQ-84, because IQ-84 is actually quite a large novel. It's over 1,000 pages, while this is about half that length. And I think that he took the idea of this world and he mended it so that he could really dive deeper into it in IQ-84. So I think that if you really like this novel, you should definitely read IQ-84, because I think that that's more established. I think he had his ideas in a better line when he was writing that novel as opposed to this one. Though I think they're both enjoyable, I just believe that it was better thought out, or maybe he had more time to explain in IQ-84. But there's just this feeling of uncertainty when it comes towards the magical elements of this novel. I just don't feel that, not that everything needs to click perfectly together, I just don't think that it was used enough in a way for you to know if it's all connected. There's all these different elements and they feel kind of scattered as opposed to connected. You have Nakata kind of being able to talk to cats and being able to be taken over by other entities. You have ghosts, essentially a ghost of a woman that's still alive, and it just feels like there's all these different magical elements and you're not sure how they connect. Are they really in the same world? So I just feel that it's a bit scatterbrained in a way. But the story itself is exquisite. It's invigorating. You cannot stop reading once you start. I think that the characters there's this really great exchange between this one character, Oshima, and these women that come to essentially write up a library that he's working at, because Kafka runs away to a library in a different city and basically hides out there because he's very comfortable in that environment. And he makes friends and has a job under Oshima. And I do believe that in this passage, it's very interesting because I'm not going to reveal any spoilers, but you definitely see the difference between somebody kind of protecting other people or just trying to push their agenda on other people. There's a difference between actually doing the right thing and trying to control what does not need to be controlled. And I think that's a very important motif alongside your imagination making things real. Another thing that I think was interesting about this novel would be the fact that the characters are just so, they're entwined, but at the same time completely separated from one another. So you have these meaningful exchanges, but they don't seem meaningful at the time, and you're not sure exactly how it all connects together. So you have this young boy, obviously, Kafka, and he meets up with this woman early in the novel, and he believes early on that she is his sister. And I think that it's beautiful that they can have that kind of relationship just based off of very few interactions that they had together. I think that the ability to connect to one another and for people to want to protect somebody that is lost and has run away is something so human and so pure. The same thing happens with Nakata, who is an older, dumb man, and he finds his own caretaker in a way. And that's just kind of shows you the love that is still in the world, even a world as weird as this one. Well, I hope you enjoyed my review. I think, as a suggestion, if you want to read this, also read IQ 84 by Haruki Murakami. Have a good one.